Hello, everyone. I likely need not mention what has happened on the 24th of this month. America has a problem. Not just part of it, not just a few of its citizens, not a subset of its citizens. No. America. The whole thing. Its laws, its people, the people running it, the businesses, everything about it. It's a huge problem. We're keeping this on the screen. The entire video. If you hadn't heard, on the 24th, as I record this, because it's currently 2 a.m. On the 25th, a psychopath entered the Vrob Elementary School. He had just turned 18. This was his 18th birthday. He went out. He bought 2 assault rifles. And then brought them to this school. And at this point has killed 19 children. I don't know how long this video is going to be, and I don't care. These are just a small handful of sites that I've chosen. Here's the first one.
14 kids dead in an elementary school in Texas right now. What are we doing? What are we doing? Just days after a shooter walked into a grocery store to gun down African American patrons, we have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we doing? There have been more mass shootings than days in the year. Our kids are living in fear every single time they set foot in a classroom because they think they're going to be next.
School shootings have become a recurring emergency in the U.S., with 26 recorded just last year, according to Ed Week, an education trade publication, and a very well respected one as well. One of the most deadly was at Sandy Hook School in Connecticut in 2012. 20 children, all under the age of 10. I'm just going through this. You can pause and read it if you want. I already have. This is one of the most disgusting things in the world. And it happened just shortly after a very obviously racially motivated one. And we know it's racially motivated because he fucking said so himself in his own fucking journal. Here's another video we're going to watch.
I'm not going to talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot-around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California, and now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of the, I'm sorry, I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it.
Let's go back and hear that again. Just in case you thought, because here's the thing, I've said this before. I'm not right, I am not left. I'm not in the middle. I am not with any of the politics. Because until recently, there were two people in any position of power in the entire American government that I even cared about in any way, shape, or form. And that was Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh. Those are the only two. I hate all of the others, Biden included, and I voted for him. Our senators know nothing about what's actually going on. They are not your representatives. They are not your leaders. They are politicians. They have to go to school to be a politician. If you don't believe me, look it up. You have to go to fucking school to be a politician. You don't have to have experienced what it's like. You have to go to school, a expensive college. So when you sit there and you want to try and argue right or left, just know your argument is fucking pointless and invalid because they don't fucking care about you. No matter what they say, no matter what you say, no matter what anyone says, they don't fucking care because they're too busy trying to line their fucking wallets. Now let's listen to what this coach said one more time. And in fact, I'm gonna hide everything so you can see the words.
so tired of the, I'm sorry, I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, you know. Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
They don't fucking care. They don't care. They never cared. The politicians have never cared. Because they're politicians. They are not representatives. They are not leaders. You want to know who's leader? Let me pull him up. I actually kind of forgot about this person, but we're going to take a moment to take a break from this because this is someone that I supported, and unfortunately, he didn't make it. Richard Ojeda. Richard Ojeda is worth a vote. Richard Ojeda has served in the United States Army as a major. This man is a true leader. He deserves a vote. All of these politicians, when you look into them and you see, oh, they passed this bill or oh, they passed that bill for whatever reason, keep two things in mind. One, keep in mind when the bill was passed. Because a bill passed 20 years ago might not be a bill that they would still pass today. And people seem to fucking forget about that. People can change their fucking mind. And it's not that surprising. People do it all the time. 2, remember that most of their decisions are influenced by what gives them the most power. We mourn, and we mourn, and then we mourn some more. Because that's all we, the people, are allowed to do. We can't bring our guns onto school property, us law-abiding citizens. We can't do it. Because that would endanger the safety of the kids. Well, newsflash, criminals don't give a fuck about your laws. This particular individual was legal when he bought those guns. And he bought them with the intent to commit mass murder. This psychopath, who I have no sympathy for in any way, to make that perfectly clear, I have no sympathy for this massive, psychotic, disgusting individual. Now, of course, Biden, being the upstanding citizen that I'm sure he is, remember, I voted for him. Like all politicians that want positive publicity, has called for common sense gun laws. Since just 2009, there have been 274 mass shootings in the United States, 1,536 of whom were shot and killed. Now, I don't know about y'all, and I'm not a expert on analysis. But judging from this map, there seem to be some patterns emerging. Southern California, a lot of Southern Nevada, a lot of Texas, ooh, and a lot of Florida. But we've got a lot sprinkled in over on the Florida side up towards the north as well. "274 times sensible gun laws have been called for. 274 times. Not a fucking thing has been done. 274. Think about that. Next time you want to try and say that a politician gives a fuck. 'Cause they don't. And I dare any of you to challenge me on this, because I will go head to head against legitimately anyone. The politicians don't give a fuck. And you know what's worse? Your vote doesn't fucking matter, because it's chosen by the Electoral College, who at worst get a little bit of a fine to their millions of dollars if they don't vote with the American people. And guess what? It's happened a lot where they don't vote with the American people. Politicians don't fucking care about you. Back to this. Of course, Biden calls for sensible gun laws. Nothing's going to happen. We all know this to be true. But as he says, it has been 3,448 days, almost 10 years, since he stood at a grade school in Connecticut where another psychopath, not gunmen, these people are not gunmen, they are psychopaths, massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, just since then, There have been 900 incidents of gunfire on school grounds. 900 incidents. You would think that if these politicians fucking cared, this number would be a lot lower. Of course, he goes on a television, makes the usual television bullshit. None of it fucking matters. Because all he's saying is the thing that he's told to say. Trump did it. He's doing it. That's what all of them do. You will never get them alone, and you will never get them to speak their open mind. Because they never will. End of story. If you don't believe me, challenge me. But of course, as this headline points out, a shocking tragedy. I mean, let's be real. It's not that shocking anymore. This is America. School shootings are practically a monthly fucking occurrence at this point. It's not that shocking. America's still not going to do anything. But of course, let's let the man speak. I am a huge advocate for allowing people to speak, and we have a video so he can say it himself. I prefer video evidence as well. I prefer it when people speak. Now again, I know this is all just PR. I know he probably might be genuine with his feelings, but nothing's gonna fucking happen. Not a fucking thing.
As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done? It's been 3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, where another gunman massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, there have been over 900 incidents of gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Santa Fe High School in Texas. Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Deer aren't running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry.
You know, when I was growing up, the whole Iraq war was going on. You say what you want about it. I have my own thoughts. We all do. But one song that really stood out to me during that time was a song by Toby Keith. And in that song, I'm sure some of you probably already know what I'm about to say. In that song, He says, we'll put a boot in your ass because it's the American way. I remember it was a big deal when we invaded Iraq. It was massive. America fights back. We put our army where our mouth is. We preach and puff up our chests and beat on them and act all big and bad that we're the leaders of freedom and free speech and justice. Then we have shit like this happen in our own borders. We have now leaked documents from the internment camps over in China about the Uyghurs and how they're being slaughtered and imprisoned. Are we going to do anything about that? No. No, we're not. We're going to continue fucking trading with those monsters. We're going to continue to hike up their economy at the expense of our own. Also, these rich politicians that don't fucking know what they're talking about because they went to a fucking rich school instead of being out there experiencing it, being out there struggling on a minimum wage. None of them did. Not Biden. Not Trump, Mr. Small loan of $1 million. Yeah, I remember that. Not Obama. Not Bush. Not any of the ones before them. When I heard about this, I almost threw up. It's disgusting. Now, in addition to all of this, Ruben Gallego thankfully has some sense. And he blasted the disgusting human known as Ted Cruz. Remember, Ted Cruz is pro-life. He hates abortion. Keep that in mind. He is pro-life. However, Ruben Gallego hurled profanity at Senator Ted Cruz after the Texas Republican worried that Democrats and the media would use the massacre of elementary students Tuesday to curb gun rights. Sure, Ted Cruz, that's what they're trying to do. In a series of coarse tweets reflecting the raw outrage at the slaughter of... I really hate that they use inappropriate words here. Slaying. It's a slaughter. There was no slaying involved. It's not like it was 18 fucking dragons. It was a slaughter of 18 children and a teacher. He also alluded to an infamous 2021 trip to Cancun, Mexico, Cruz took as his state grappled with massive blackouts following a winter storm. Yeah. Hey, you forget about that? Yeah, no, he was, while that whole blackout thing was happening, Ted Cruz was just living the high life, didn't give a shit, literally left fucking Texas, the place he's supposed to represent. You really still think that he represents you? Anyways, unlike everyone else, I will never censor myself. This is exactly what he said. Fuck you, Ted Cruz. You care about a fetus, but you will let our children get slaughtered. Thank you for using correct wording. Get your ass to Cancun. You are useless. Yeah, Just go to Cancun. Go there, stay there. We don't want you anymore. Let someone else take your spot. Another rich person would probably still do a better job, unfortunately. Now, in a since deleted tweet, he tells him to, he says, just to be clear, fuck you, you fucking baby killer. Now, this was a bit too far. It's a good thing he deleted it. But yeah, he said in response to the remarks, he said, or in response to the remarks, he did these in response to remarks by Cruz reported by CNN, saying, inevitably, when there's a murderer of this kind, you see politicians try to politicize it. You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the media whose immediate solution is to try and restrict the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. Yes, because that's going to do anything. It's perfectly law-abiding citizens doing all of these mass shootings. Yes, these people are fucking insane. Anyways, he later turned his anger to Representative Darrell Issa, who had tweeted, "Our thoughts and prayers are with these families." He puts it beautifully. He says, fuck your prayers. They haven't worked for the last 20 mass shootings. How about passing some laws that will stop these killings? And I agree. How about y'all shut the fuck up and do your fucking job? He also ripped into another senator, this one a Democrat, after she condemned the shooting, saying in a very PR statement way that we are horrified and heartbroken by the senseless tragedy unfolding at Robb Elementary School in Texas, and grateful to the first responders for acting swiftly. You mean by showing up after he had committed the slaughter and then killed him? So you despise the fact that he killed all these children, but you're grateful that the first responders killed him. So his death is perfectly fine, but not the children's, even though his was also another human life. See, this is the issue. This is the paradox that pro-lifers get into. And I'm not necessarily saying that she's a pro-lifer. I'm not entirely sure. But this is the paradox. If you are a pro-life, what happens in this situation? Who should die? Or, let's take it in a more direct way. Abortion. Okay. I heard recently someone say that they don't care how it happens. A baby is a baby, and abortion is wrong, regardless of how it happens. Their words, verbatim. Now, here's the paradox. A woman gets raped, brutally raped by some stranger. Okay? In the Bible, you're not to have sex out of wedlock. And also in the Bible, if a woman has sex out of wedlock, you are to stone her. Yes, that is correct. Or something similar to that effect. Basically, it's terrible. And it's always the woman's fault. It's really bad. Now, regardless of that little paradox, if they're raped brutally, especially, and are then impregnated, what if her life's in danger? What if carrying this baby at all will kill her? More to the point, what if it'll kill her before the baby is able to live outside of the womb? Then what? Do you force the mother to suffer and end up with 2 lives being lost? Or do you cut the baby out in an abortion to save the mother's life. No matter what, someone dies. And the worst part about all of it, it wouldn't even be her choice in any way. See, the thing that pro-lifers don't seem to realize is that by outright banning abortions, the only thing you're actually doing, and we're seeing this in Texas. You don't believe me, do your research, or we can debate about it. Your choice. I don't care. I'll show you the evidence if you want it. If you ban abortions, people will go elsewhere to get their abortion. Often in places that are unsafe, questionable. I'm using this to rant because I'm absolutely fucking tired of these representatives doing fucking nothing. And everyone fucking siding with them, thinking that they actually fucking care. They don't. Now, in response to this idiot going off about, oh, our thoughts and prayers and blah, blah, blah and all, our intelligent representative here says, please just stop. Unless you are willing to break the filibuster to actually pass sensible gun control measures, you might as well just say thoughts and prayers. Because that's all she did. Now, there's other information on him, which I'll go ahead and do this for. So that way you can pause and read if you would like. Now, that tweet, by the way, is right here. I know my camera's going in and out. I don't care. Here's that tweet where he said, fuck you. And here is another tweet by him, which I very much enjoyed. 10 days after a hateful mass shooting in Buffalo, 14 school children and a teacher are killed in Uvalde. We have surrendered our communities and our children to an endless parade of tragedy. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. We must take action and confront gun violence. Once again, America has seen its own shadow, and nothing will change. More children will die. Thoughts of prayers all around. It's just all around terrible. It's senseless. There's no point to it. The individual responsible for this is a despicable human being. End of story. I am personally at somewhat of an impasse. Because as disgusting and despicable as he is, the path that I follow is not Christian, though Christianity would have you believe that I worship the devil. Our read, as it were, can be broken down into just a few simple words. This is effectively the 10 Commandments, except it's just one. And here's what it is. And it harm none. Do what ye will. Now before we go, I'm going to read the whole thing to you. I don't know how many of you are going to watch this point. Nor do I know how many of you actually care. But for those who wish to learn, those who wish to grow, and for those who wish to try and live their life in a peaceful, coexistent way, here's the witch's rede. Bide the Wiccan laws we must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Live and let live, fairly take and fairly give. Cast the circle thrice about, to keep the evil spirits out. To bind the spell every time, let the spell be spake and rhyme. Soft of eye and light of touch, speak little, listen much. Dios still go by the waxing moon, chanting out the witch's rune. Widdershins go by the waning moon, chanting out the baneful rune. When the lady's moon is new, kiss the hand to her times 2. When the moon rides at her peak, then your heart's desire seek. Head the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. When the wind comes from the south, love will kiss thee on the mouth. When the wind blows from the west, departed souls will have no rest. When the wind blows from the east, expect the new and set the feast. 9 woods in the cauldron go, burn them fast and burn them slow. Elder be the lady's tree, burn it not, or cursed you'll be. When the wheel begins to turn, let the Beltane fires burn. When the wheel has turned to Yule, light the log and the horned one rules. For context, Beelzebub, who this is referring to, is the lord of the hunt, not Satan. Anyways, heed ye flower, bush and tree, by the lady blessed be. Where the rippling waters go, cast a stone, in truth you'll know. When ye have a true need, hearken not to others' greed. With a fool no seasons spend, lest ye be counted as his friend. Merry meet and merry part, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. Mind the threefold law you should, 3 times bad, 3 times good. When misfortune is enow, wear the blue star on thy brow. True in love ever be, lest thy lovers false to thee. 8 words the Wiccan rede fulfill, and it harm none, do what ye will. Love and peace, above all, lest it come back 3 times the fall.